What up? Who's on the sick one to sobriety? My name is Robin. I'm an alcoholic and drug addict. So today I'm gonna get into about the next chapter of my life, the next chapter of my addiction. How it was up here, peak addiction. Now it's slowly taking a dive down. Now it's gonna start getting out of hand. So I packed my bags right at my mom's house. Got into that little lightweight verbal discussion with my mom. Well, it was a one-sided discussion. She was the one talking all kinds of shit when I was just there trying to post up, do nothing. What I heard from her was instead of my dad being sick, I heard her say, "I wish you were the one that was sick." That's fucked me up because I heard that and I was like, "That's it, I'm done." Right? Packed my bags, headed for the border. But I'm smart. Well, I waited for my parents to leave the house where I knew I was gonna be there by myself. Packed my bags. I even wrote them a goodbye. I wrote them a goodbye letter. I don't know what the hell I said in there. Probably something like, "I won't be a burden to you guys anymore. I'm sorry for everything I did, but you don't have to worry about me no more." You know, stupid shit like little kids, stupid shit like that, right? I was running away. I was running away from home. That's exactly what it was. 25, I don't know how old I was, 25, 24 years old, running away from home. That's the normal adult thing to do, right? I get my shit, but I knew I had a paycheck coming up because I still had a lightweight job doing security. I was doing it here and there. So I knew I had a paycheck coming. So I kept my house key because I knew my mom would go to the mail every couple of days and she would just stash it right there. So I figured I would just come back when they're not home. I'll sneak in, get my check, and bounce. So I pack my bags. I take off. I'm walking down Barry Boulevard. I'm just hoping that like my mom didn't notice that I'm gone. Because at this time I was supposed to be grounded. I wasn't supposed to be out the house. I wasn't allowed to leave the house, y'all. So I'm walking down the boulevard, have my duffel bag with me, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, like I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm like I already made the first step. Like I'm gone, you know. Obviously, I didn't have no money for the bus, so I walked my ass to fucking Barry trolley station. Got on the trolley, got off at the next stop, which is the border. And I was like, here. I looked at the fucking sign, Mexico. I was like, let's go. Once you go in past the turnstiles, you're supposed to sign up for like a pass or some shit, whatever. I skip right through that. I go through where all the Mexican citizens go through, straight to the X-ray machines, all that. I felt like everybody was looking at me because I was all smoked out. I was like, I have a duffel bag with me. I ain't nobody give a fuck about what I'm doing. Crossed the border, and I'm like, "Ooh, made it." I felt like a sign of like a relief, you know. So now I gotta walk to my homie's house. Now I'm not exactly sure what this place is called, like what part of the town is called, but I know it's Libertad Parte Baja, and it's across the street. Or I mean, like on the backside of some dulceria. That's right up the street from some train tracks. So it's like 5 minute walk away from the border, so it wasn't too bad. So I remember getting there, and I fucking do my little bird call. And he already knows. I mean, who else is doing the bird call in TJ? I don't think anybody. So he knows it's me. But I don't see any movement, and I'm just like, oh fuck, like they're not home. Like fuck, I did all this mission for nothing, and I was just gonna stand there and wait for them. I guess. Who knows how long it was? Who knows if it would have been days? I kicked it. I walked across the street. Luckily, my where my friend lived, it was like upstairs, and he had a sliding door with a balcony that looked down to the street where I was at. And I seen that the lights were on. I was like, okay, cool, they're there. I waited for a while. I was like, maybe he's just Malias coming down. He has to sleep, whatever. So I waited for a while, 20 minutes, and again, like super as loud as I could. And then this fool, like, I see him get up. He jumped up like a ninja and fucking opened the door. He's like, hey, what's up, fool? He's like, you're on the and I was like, hey, what's up now? I'm moving in, fool. He's like, he's like, say, where you moving in? I was like, moving in, fool. What's up? I ran away from home. He's like, no, mom, it's Kylie dog. And that's just the type of friendship that me and that guy had. He never invited me over to stay. Make that one thing clear. Like he never said, "Hey, fool, you can come live here whenever you want." None of that was ever discussed. He just said to come visit whenever you want. There's a big difference. But I showed up to live. He gave me my own room, which was cool. He said, "Make yourself comfortable." It was his daughter's playroom, so obviously we had to kick her out of there. And I had a mattress on the floor, and I was home. That was my home for I don't know how long it was. Honestly, it felt like a couple months, but I'm not sure. Now being there, what's the first thing a drug addict got to do? when he gets somewhere new. He gotta bless the house. Let's go get a sack. Now TJ is a whole different animal for scoring. I didn't know the ropes. My homie did, so he would go come. He would go do whatever he had to do and come back with it. But as time passes by, a motherfucker gets bolder. I can't count on my homie to always go. Sometimes I want to bust a shice and I want to smoke by myself. So I can't depend on him. So I got to learn the ropes too. And to be honest, I was scared. Scared as fuck. But I'm a drug addict. My drug addiction is above fear. So I just had to suck it up. Amarrame un huevo and figure it out. So I walked with my homie up there a few times. No, a big ass hill. I don't walk up a big ass hill. I'd be tired, huffing and puffing by the time I got up that hill. See, because you got to go up a big ass hill, and then you got to go down into a barranco, into the canyon, and then you come up so tripped out. And you come up to the people's house, and they're just out there. They're just posted up, and they know anybody coming through. They're coming for something. Like, hey, ¿qué onda? ¿Cuántos? Actually, because they only sell globals, 50 pesos. ¿Cuántos? Oh, give me one, give me two, whatever. You could pay in change. You can pay in pesos. Never in dollars, though, because it's kind of a ripoff. For $2.50, you buy a 20 sack here, but you get a 20 sack over there for $2.50, which is an amazing deal if you ask me. So that was the routine. And then I started going by myself at night. Scary. I used to wear my security uniform. It used to make me feel comfortable. It used to make me feel like a shield. And like, sounds fucking stupid, but it just made me feel at ease. And I'd go up there in my work uniform. And even though I wasn't going to work or coming from work, and I'd just be out there with my big old bomber jacket, which was awesome. And they'd be like, hey, ¿qué no vas a ir a jalar? And so, oh, Simón, güey, pásame uno, pásame dos, whatever I had. And one time I only had 30 pesos and a lighter, and they're like, fuck it, we'll take it, dog, and like it was a trip. But I was always scared. And I was never, ever, 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 I put that on my mama, never, ever, ever scared of the malandros right there or the cholos right there. I was scared of the police. The police, I just hear all kinds of crazy stories of how they're crooked. And I've had my own encounter with the police, and it wasn't fun. So I was just scared of going to jail in TJ because I have no idea what the fuck is happening in jail in TJ. I don't know what's happening in the jails here in the U.S. Menos allá. So that was the only problem I had, was looking out for those fools. And so it was always constant. Good thing I never got caught with anything. I'm amazed by that. But I was willing to put myself out there. Because of my drug addiction, I was willing to put myself in potential harm and potential a chance to go to jail in TJ. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, that's how strong my drug addiction was, that I didn't give a fuck as long as I got high. So that's just the way it was for a while. But then you got to start busting missions. Then you got to start lying to your friends. Like the first lie I told my friend, I remember him and his girl used to argue about money. And especially is why Big Rob ain't putting in on the rent. And my homie is like, that's a good question. Why the fuck isn't he putting in on the rent? And he has a job. I mean, like I said, I had a lightweight job. I would still work 1-2 shifts a week. That was enough just to make, and just to make it through. And so I would do that. And one time, my homie actually confronted me, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, fool? Like, you got money?" I was like, "Of course, dog. I have it on my debit card." He's like, "Oh, cool. Let's go to the bank right now because my girl's tripping, just so she could pa carmala, and then we could just keep on going with her shit." Okay, cool. I was like, "But the thing is, I need to go cross to the United States because that's the only place where my debit card." He's like, "Well, it's a bank right here, dog. Like these ATMs accept any type of bank card." And I was like, "Nah, mine's a special one for my company. It only works on that side." And I don't know how he believed that bullshit, or maybe he didn't, but he just wanted to see how fucking far I would go with it. And I went across the border. I didn't come back. I come back for like 8 hours, probably something like that. And what I did to get money was I hit up my homie. My homie always had a job. He was always smoked out. And I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, vamos a hacer un paro, güey. Ocupo ganar dinero." I was like, "You think I could do some yard work right there at your pad?" I was like, "I need $60 too. So whatever we could do for me to walk away with $60, I'm down." He's like, "Simon, you looked out for me." And it was good ass homie. Rest in peace to the homie. good ass homie. And he's like, hey, I went over to his pad. We did all kinds. He smoked me out. We did all kinds of yard work. Gave me $60. He's like, it's all this way. Cool. I went back to TJ, paid money, smoked out. We were chilling. Everything was back to normal. Time passes by. I'm just doing the same old bullshit, going to the connect, nothing too crazy. And then again, they start arguing. My homie and his girl start arguing. Like, hey, what's up with this fool? When is he gonna start paying rent? And my homie, I don't know how I think he was like on disability or what's the fuck is that shit called when you get fired from your job? Unemployment. And so he was making money, and then like he tried to slip me some money. That's how down my homie is or was for me because I don't know about it anymore. But he tried to slip me some money so I could bust it out later in front of his girl and be like, here. But it didn't work out. She was fucking tripping like a motherfucker. So we're just trying to do some scandalous shit. And I was just like, fuck, fool. Like, I need to feed my addiction somehow. So I was going to sort back to what I know best, is being a thief. Unfortunately, I know I promised myself and I said that I was never going to do it again because I didn't want to get caught up. But I had to do what I had to do. So I went to my favorite store. It was close to the border. I went to Faya's factory to you. It doesn't exist anymore, so I don't give a fuck. I went over there, and then, you know what's fucked up? It's the store that I used to work security at, which was fucked up, where I sold the pipe to the guy that was walking right in front. So I knew how easy it was to steal. I knew how easy it was. I knew how it was that they didn't have security. They did have cameras, but there was nobody monitoring the cameras. So I knew how I could come up. So I went over there. I just came up on a bunch of clothes because that's when I investigated it a little bit. They told me that they sell like clothes is what sells the most in TJ. I was like, fuck it, let's bust the mission. I took all kinds of boxers and shirts like that. I crossed back to the border. I hit my homie up. There was a guy that I met along the way. I think he passed. According to my homie, he passed away too. So rest in peace to homie Allen. I'll say his name. Fuck it. And so I went to go look for him, and sure enough, he was home. And I was like, I came up on all kinds of this shit. I was like, I just need 100 pesos. You keep 100. What's up? And he's like, arre. So it was a mission, taloneando con este güey. He just knew everybody. And we went to taco stands. We went to restaurants. We went to tienditas, to the Oxxo. We walked all over Tijuana selling the fucking merchandise. And sure enough, came up on a little bit more than 100 pesos. He came up on a little bit more than 100 pesos. We got some sacks, split them. We went on our way. And that's just the type of life it is for a tweaker in TJ. It's just you're always doing little missions. You're always busting little hollies. And it's tiring. I never walked so much in my life. I ended up with so fucked up feet. Like I had all kinds of blisters and cuts. I think I only washed my clothes once the whole time I was out there. So I don't know how bad I smelled. I don't know how bad my clothes were fucked up. My feet were gone, dude. They were so fucked. Like I at the end I was like limping, like I couldn't even go no more. Like I was going so down and out where I just couldn't I couldn't go on anymore with that life. So it was just the same bullshit day in, day out. Until one crazy night. I don't know where I went, but I came back and I was trying to get in, like, yo, what's up? Let me in. And the girl's like, hey, your homie don't live here no more. And I was like, no, mom. I was like, fuck. I was like, what am I gonna do? Stay here, like with the girl? Like, and I was like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, he went back to go live with his mom. I was like, and it was kind of like in the evening, and I told her, I was like, hey, let me do me a power, like, let me just stay here for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm gone. No pedo. And she's like, all right, just stay upstairs, you know? I was all right. And I wanted to stay a little longer. So I hit up some homies in the United States, because I was a DJ. I hit up some homies, like, hey, if I need some money, how do we do it? They're like, Kyle, we crossed, pick me up. And we went to some apartments over there in Carmel Valley Mountain Road or some shit like that, where my homie was working as a painter. And according to him, these people have money and they throw away good working electronics. Guess what your boy came up on? I came up on a big ass microwave, and it was still working. Well, it turned on. I don't know if it worked, but it turned on. Came up on that, and sure enough, they dropped me back down at the border. And here I go with a big old microwave on top of my shoulders, walking to the border, sweating bullets, all smoked down and shit. And I remember one of the homies gave me 50 pesos. He's like, hey, te voy a dar 50 pesos, pero es para el taxi, güey. Es que no quiero que te agarre la placa. Vete a tu casa. And I was like, damn. I wanted to use those 50 bucks for some shit. But that microwave, I ended up selling it to that girl's sister for like 60 bucks so they could just let me stay there a little bit longer so I could pay my half, you know? And it worked. But then they told me that it was a ripoff because the microwave didn't work. I was like, hey, that's what you get for trusting a tweaker, motherfuckers. But my homie wasn't coming back to the house no more. I couldn't stay there anymore. All of this happened within a couple months, right? I couldn't stay there no more, so I was like, what do I do? I am officially homeless. I have nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to. Sure, my mom told me that to whenever I want to call her up and come back to the house and it's all good, but it's not all good because my shame and my guilt's still there. The bullshit that I did was still there. And as a matter of fact, now that I'm remembering telling this story, my parents actually wanted me to sign a paper saying that I no longer live in those apartments so they could take me off the contract so they wouldn't count on me anymore. So it was just like, fuck, dude, like I'm homeless now. What do I do? And I came back to the US defeated like a motherfucker, only with the clothes on my back. I had nothing else. Just the clothes on my back and withdrawals and my Obama phone. That's it. This is the end of this story. I'm gonna get into more details later on.